Welcome to another episode of Animator Interviews. My name is Evan Vernon. I'm a contributor at Animation for Adults, as well as Animation Nights New York, also known as ANNY. For those new to ANNY, we are a monthly screening event and yearly festival that celebrates the very best in animation talent. Our artists come from all across the globe, and many have had their work featured at Cannes, Annecy, and other prominent festivals. We receive thousands of submissions each year, and each year we screen just 20 at our annual Best of Fest. Today we're discussing one of those 20. Matisse Gonzalez is with me now. Matisse is a Bolivian artist who currently resides in Stuttgart, Germany, where she studied animation at the Filmakademie Baden-Württemberg. Matisse's thesis piece, Gravedad, was chosen by our jury as a Best of Fest winner film. Set in a remote pasture, the film follows Rosa, a young girl who struggles with depression and yearns for something beyond her plain, idyllic life. In a world where gravity constantly changes, Rosa struggles to stay grounded. But with the help of a friendly cowherd, mother, and musician, she'll eventually find her footing, aware that no matter how hard life gets, she'll never be alone. Today, Matisse has kindly agreed to discuss Gravedad, its touching message, and her future plans as an artist. Today's interview is also public and open to audience questions. We will address all of those as they come in. Matisse, thanks for coming. I'll start with the same question we ask all our guests. What inspired you to become an animator?
Yeah, it's interesting because I come from Bolivia, and in Bolivia, I never knew there existed a career of animation. You see animation every day in the TV, but you don't even think it could exist as a career. There's also no animation school in Bolivia. So it took me a long time until, first of all, knowing that I can do it, and then deciding it. But I always liked drawing. I used to draw comics, usually about my teachers getting killed in some way in school. So I wanted to do something with that. I wanted to do something with literature, because I like telling stories, and I was fascinated about cinema. And then when I found out about animation, I realized it's a perfect combination of the three of them. So I came to Germany, where I am living now, studied here, and after graduation, I stayed here. So that's my story.
Yeah, no, wonderful. Yeah, you touched on this, Matisse, but you said that in South America, the animation industry maybe isn't quite as prolific as it would be in like Europe or America. Did you have any influences or heroes who maybe inspired you to enter the industry, or was it something that came? Go ahead.
Well, first of all, it doesn't have, but right now, Latin America is booming, especially Brazil. Well, Brazil with the crisis, not anymore, but yeah. Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, they're growing extremely quickly. And now I am making, now I'm working way more with Latin America. Bolivia, we're still not there yet, but and influences. Well, like I said, I loved comics. There's an Argentinian comic maker called Kino. He's super known in Latin America, but I don't know if people here know him. And he did Mafalda. He was one of my biggest influences. Liniers. I started a lot with comic people, and of course, I used to watch a lot of TV. And I used to love SpongeBob, Flapjack, and Adventure Time. And only when I started studying animation did I find out that there's more than that there's amazing experimental animation and festival animation that is a bit. I try to grab from everything that I love, so to say. Yeah.
Well said, Matisse. It sounds like you have kind of a myriad influences that have all been pieced together to create something that's your own. I like the fact you mentioned Pendleton Ward. Some people may have seen the subtle influences in this film, Gravedad, with the character designs and the cute minimalistic faces. But yeah, no, thank you so much for giving us a little more context. So, Matisse, tell us a little bit about Gravedad. Beautiful film. It seems to deal a lot with ideas of, community and growing up. Where did this story come from?
Um, it was also like not only style-wise, but the story-wise, I also grabbed from a lot of places. But it started because I was in a very low place in my life. So yeah, I was dealing with some depression, and I was reading this book by Kurt Vonnegut called Slapstick.
Mm-hmm.
And in this book, the gravity changes. It's a science fiction book. So, but yeah, gravity changes. So some days are heavy and some days are light. And this is how, for example, the Egyptians made the pyramids back then, because the gravity was very light on that day. I like that idea a lot. And I started talking to my friend on the phone and putting my depression in those words. So we would talk and I would say, today is a heavy day, meaning I am bad and nothing changes. Like I am doing not good and there's nothing I can do. Or today is a light day. And what interested me was the idea that I have no control over it. I am either really bad or really good, and I cannot do anything. So I wanted to do a film about it. And then it took me a long time, because making a film about your depression while you're feeling the depression is a horrible thing. I couldn't find an ending for it, because how can you find an ending if you haven't found the solution for your life? Yeah. And then I found a book by Albert Camus that talks about the role of the artist in the society, and how the artist has to, like an artist that only talks to himself is not an artist. He has to be able to talk the language of the community. An artist that doesn't share is not an artist. So I was thinking this is interesting, like the idea of sharing this, not only this depression, but also these manic states, these happiness states, sharing the stars and the whole, like in the film, could be maybe the solution for the main character. And so it was like grabbing from a lot of philosophy and literature too.
We were talking about artistic influences just a moment ago, and when you think about that in the context of an animator, you usually think of other animators, but you've taken this to a whole new level, drawing from names like Vonnegut and Camus, who was a very famous existentialist French philosopher. That's amazing, Matisse. It's always exciting having these interviews and talking to the director about kind of the story behind the story. Even now we're starting to see all these extra layers to Gravedad that we wouldn't have considered before. So thank you so much. You talk about these ideas of community, of depression in these different emotional states, and you can definitely sense that heaviness at the beginning of the film, but there's a shift at the end. There seems to be this moment of victory, of reconciliation for the main character. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? How she kind of conquered those negative thoughts.
Well, I think it was two things that helped her conquer it. The first thing is realizing that of course you can change yourself, and of course you can grow, but there's some aspects of yourself that you cannot change. And that most of my therapy is just me realizing these things and learning how to cope with it. And that's what she had to learn. She had to learn that the stars and the holes, like these two extremes, are part of who she is. And the moment she tried to leave it away and escape from it, she was miserable. She needed that. She was leaving her own identity. So realizing this helped her a lot to be able to stop fighting it and make it something positive. And the second thing was the friends she made on the way, which is sounds a little bit cheesy, but it's extremely important, because she was alone at the beginning. She was alone and she was lost, and she was just seeing these other people who seem to have such an easy life. The milkman with his cows, such an easy life, and the mother has has children. I want this easy solution for my life too. And then she realizes that these people have more depth and that they're not super happy. They also have dreams that maybe they gave away for what they have. So she then realizes that she is like the others. And she makes these friends, and she learns then to be depending on them, in the sense that she's now sharing her extremes in the form of stories. That was the idea.
Go ahead, Matisse. Sorry.
No, and that by bringing this, she's also giving the other characters what they lacked, because the other kind of lacked this dreaming, the artistic beauty, so to say. So they're influencing each other and they're helping each other.
Beautifully said, Matisse. You shared some powerful insights with us there. The girl is she's kind of a dreamer, right? She talks about wanting to go to the stars and has these visions of doing that, and it feels like she almost kind of reawakens that whimsy, that romanticism in the other characters. One of the women I think she talks to says, "Oh yeah, I used to dream of going to the stars," and she kind of brings that back.
I'm so touched that you know the film so well. I don't know, like, no.
Well, it's not a film you easily forget, I think that the people who have joined us today and the people who will listen to this would say the same. So thank you, Matisse.
No, thank you.
So tell us a little bit about what you're doing today. Gravedad was made a couple of years ago. I think it was about like 2019.
Yes.
You're a young artist. You got your whole career ahead of you. Do you want to share any projects that you've been working on since then?
Yeah, sure. So I will tell the long story. After Gravedad, it was doing really well on festivals, and I was amazing. My career is done, but I was not able to find a job. No, for everything that I was trying, I was not able to find a job. And I came into an existential crisis of what have I done? I studied for 7 years and I cannot find a job. And then now I am very happy for this, because this taught me that I am not a person that works as studios. I am not a person that works. I am an independent filmmaker, and this is who I am and what I have to do. And there was a contest for female Latin American female creators for Cartoon Network Latinoamérica, and I won the contest. And the prize was that they give you money to make a pilot for your own series. So I took this existential crisis and I made a pilot about astronauts that go to the moon to follow their dream, and their dream is shit. Which was exactly what I was feeling. I left Bolivia, I came to Germany, following my dream, and I have no job. So yeah, also a very personal story. Of course, it had to be a little bit more light than Gravedad, a little bit more funny, because the Cartoon Network people were like, it has to have jokes. And after that is now finished. I am sending this film as a film, not as a pilot, as a film, to festivals also. And they still have to tell me if it's going to become a series or not. But I don't want to make it depending on that. So I started my new project, which is going to be a feature film, and I'm writing it, which is a whole, like, everything that you learn for short films, you can now forget. I can now forget. Feature is, but yeah. So in 5 years, at least, you will see my next film.
The fact that you were able to have that experience and have this opportunity to expand your reach and show your work to people outside of Bolivia or Germany is exciting. And you have so much time as well, in an ideal world. And I think that this would be a good question to end with. Where do you see yourself in the future? You've alluded to the idea of making a feature film. Is it just that, or do you see yourself making more feature films? Possibly that would be your career. What's a perfect world look like for Matisse Gonzalez?
Yeah, I just want to make films, whatever they are, and whichever length they are. I love it. I just love it. And every time it's easier, not in the sense that the stories are always hard, but this Cartoon Network thing opened a lot of doors. So because of that, I was able to pitch my feature to Cartoon Network, for example, and to HBO and so on. So it does open doors, and you do plant your little seeds around. And my saying is, I want my feature, or I might want my film to be good, because only then, or no, how can I say it? I want to make films to be able to make more films. So if my film is successful, it will open the door to make more films. And my dream is to one day be able to say, I want to make a film, and to not have to pitch it or find money or blah, 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 that I can just do it and not have this whole, all of these things that you have to do before even starting. I'd
imagine it's a bit difficult getting off the ground as a young artist. And, that's definitely a struggle that a lot of our artists have shared. Unfortunately, no matter how brilliant or talented you are, taking those first few steps can be a bit difficult. That being said, Matisse, I think it goes without question that you're a very gifted artist, and we expect great things from you in the future. So thank you so much for sharing Gravedad with us. It's been or Gravedad. Thank you so much for sharing Gravedad with us. My goodness, it's been a real honor to share your talents at the festival. We wish you all the best in the future.
Thank you for your super, super kind words. It's an honor for me, really.
Thank you, Matisse. Talk soon.
Bye-bye.